Hello, beautiful immigrants. We're back again because it's NAATi again. Today, I'm just gonna make a short little video. And this one's gonna just look at whether we wanna ask NAATi to review our exam in case you failed. So let's take a look. If you wanna do this, you go back to the NAATi website, of course, and you log into your account. Um, When you do, you're going to see this little dashboard. All of you are quite familiar with this, I'm sure. And you click on My Test Results. You're going to see your amazing test results where it says failed, but I call it flunked. You never fail, you know. You always have an experiment and you're going to do it again. Um, you then click on this little button which says Apply for a paid test review. And this is where I got a bit of a surprise because it says it's a paid review. Okay. You also have to note that NAATi says that while your test is being reviewed, you can't apply for another, fresh exam. So just keep that in mind. If you click that, NAATi gives you this little page where it gives you the payment options, not the options, payment details. And with GST, you're going to be paying 187 Australian dollars to get your exam reassessed. So, what are you going to do? So if you've flunked your exam, I guess the next question in your head is like, should I do a review of the exam that I've already done? Or should I just retake the exam? Or should I not do anything at all? Those are three, questions in your mind. If you're checking, the first one that you need to sort out is whether you're going to do a review. And first of all, you're going to check your marks, right? If you've scored 58 or above, then you have the right to ask for a review of the exam. If you've scored anything below that, you can't, even if you wanted to review it, you can't. You're not allowed to. The other question you should answer is whether you think that if the second examiner were to review your, exam, then would they do it differently? This is where you're asking yourself, do I think that I actually deserved, not deserved, that I actually did better than the marks that I got? This is kind of dependent on this other question that you have to ask yourself, right? Ask yourself where your marks were cut. So if you're like me and your marks were cut for things like, you asked for too many repeats. Some people, they would have flunked because they didn't record their translation for whatever reason. Some other folks might have flunked because they might have exceeded the time limit. They took 2 hours to do the exam. So if you've got some reasons like these, then I would say you probably don't want to do a review because a review is really just checking to see whether an examiner would, would score you differently, right? So if the first examiner were, sorry about that, but if the first examiner were to mark you in a particular way, let's say, so there's an examiner X and he thinks you performed in a particular way. And you believe that a second examiner, Y, would evaluate the same work but slightly differently, then you should ask for a review. But what happens with these kind of mistakes where you have excessive repeats or no rendering of your translation or whatever? These are things that, irrespective of who the reviewer is, right, whether it's X or whether it's Y, they will still cut marks because that's still happening. It's not on their interpretation of your translation. This is marks being cut because it's right there. You simply didn't do the things that you were supposed to do. So if that is the reason, then, I would say forget about the review. But again, it's your choice, right? At the end. So make your decision, but do it quickly. I've made mine just today as I made this video. I'm not going to be asking for a review. Doesn't make sense for me because I've asked for too many repeats during my exam, and I know that's going to be a deduction anyways. Plus, I don't want to pay that, even if it's a smaller amount compared to 800. I'm like, what the hell? I'm already paying through my nose for this. So this is it. Okay, then. Let's do this. And all the best for your exams.